This guy gets clowned at demon school for being a nobody, but turns out he's the actual Demon King reborn and casually drops the most busted magic anyone's ever seen. Now everyone's shook as he solos exams, resurrects enemies just to flex, and proves he's the real top dog. The tale begins 2,000 years ago, during the mythical age. A fearsome man emerged, one who annihilated nations of humans, reduced the spirits forest to ash, and even felled the gods themselves. Known and dreaded as the Demon King of Tyranny, his rule pushed domination to its extreme, obliterating reason itself in his gaze. To honor that legacy, the Demon King Academy, Delsgade, was established to nurture the descendants of the founder, selecting a new Demon King from their ranks. Now, 2 millennia since his death, a prophecy declares that the founder himself will awaken. This year's incoming class, containing members of the so-called Generation of Chaos, stirs whispers that the Demon King may indeed have reincarnated. Death was just part 1 of his 5-step plan. On the day of the entrance exam, the aspiring students gather at the academy gates. Among them is Misha Necron, who enters under the watchful and encouraging eyes of her parents. She catches the attention of Zepes Indu, a boastful member of the Indu family, who mocks her. However, Misha pays him no mind, walking quietly alongside a polite yet mysterious young man. Zepes fumes at being ignored, but his attempts to provoke are swiftly silenced when the young man effortlessly deflects his magic, dismissing it as too weak to even register. Zepes, the only noble who can be mashed smoother than boiled potatoes. Soon after, the practical skills test begins, a duel where losing means immediate disqualification. The candidates are informed that all weapons and tools are fair game. Once inside the arena, fate pits Zepes against the same young man who reveals his name as Anos Voldegode. Zepes returns, armed with Zephrid, an ancient magic sword passed down through the royal Indu lineage. Yet even with such a relic, he watches in disbelief as his flames are extinguished once again. Anos stands unmoved, declaring he won't take a step, won't wield magic, and won't even channel power into his breath or words. Despite such restrictions, he vows victory. Zepes, unable to comprehend such confidence, attacks only to find himself collapsing, blood pouring from his mouth, his life snuffed out in an instant. His strength is so faint, even shadows refuse to follow. With a mere snap of his fingers, Anos resurrects Zepes, curious how it feels to die. As Zepes recoils in shock, Anos kills and revives him repeatedly, exploiting the rule that resurrection is possible within 3 seconds of death, so long as the soul's root remains intact. The spectators look on in terror, while Zepes, stripped of pride and will, finally bows his head and yields. Zepes is a noble name, but power as hollow as an empty throne. The next phase is the magic power assessment, which sees candidates displaying their strength. When Anos steps forward, his sheer power shatters the crystal used for measurement, leaving Misha astonished. She admits her demonic eyes allow her to perceive his immense energy. Then comes the aptitude test, designed to measure knowledge of the Demon King of Tyranny. Few even dare speak the founder's name. Yet, when asked, Anos declares it Anos Voldegode. The examiners pose difficult moral questions about the founder's decisions, such as why he burned his homeland, Dilhade. Anos gives a detailed answer without hesitating even once. For Anos, every test is less of an exam and more of a casual warm-up, whereas Misha answers that it was done to reincarnate those too weak to endure the endless wars. Later, Anos invites Misha to his home to celebrate. Though she initially suggests using flight magic, she takes his hand and they teleport to his house. His mother greets them warmly, stunned that her son, just a month old, has already brought home a girl. She grows emotional, jokingly assuming Misha is his bride. Over dinner, Misha admits that it is Anos' kindness that drew her in. Much to his amusement, as kindness was never a trait attributed to him before, Anos is a man whose heart is forged in power, yet tempered in kindness. During their walk afterward, Misha clarifies that the man she lives with is not her father but her guardian. She mentions her parents are alive but preoccupied. She is raised by duty, not by affection, yet her soul remains untainted. Anos reflects on her perception of him as kind, a notion he finds unexpectedly refreshing. Their conversation is interrupted when a barrier traps them, set by Leorg Indu, Zepes' elder brother. Leorg, disgusted by his siblings' humiliation, kills Zepes without hesitation, declaring that purebloods of the Demon King's lineage must not suffer such disgrace. Leorg's pride blinds him as he threatens Anos, mocking his mongrel status. Yet, Leorg's magic backfires, his own power spiraling out of control as his body rebels in fear of Anos' overwhelming presence. Despite this, Leorg rises, determined to uphold his royal pride, and casts a forbidden spell only to see Anos unscathed. Anos reveals that such origin magic is meaningless against him, for it can never affect the origin itself. He even resurrects Zepes, this time as a zombie burning with hatred for his brother's betrayal. Anos suggests the two brothers reconcile and fight together, yet Leorg refuses, horrified at the idea of siding with his undead sibling. Zepes, consumed by rage, lunges to kill Leorg. Anos intervenes, urging Leorg to call out to his brother by name. As Leorg does so, a surge of magic freezes them both into statues. Observing their petrified forms, Anos laments the fragility of familial bonds in this era. With a wave of his power, he restores the scene and revives both brothers. One, recognizing how much weaker demons have become over 2,000 years, Anos advises Leorg to return stronger if he still seeks a challenge. The elder brother arrives, yet the outcome feels like déjà vu, another family reunion destined for defeat. Before leaving, he declares his identity plainly. He is their founder, the true Demon King of Tyranny, Anos Voldegode. He made a declaration sharp enough to slice through history itself. The Demon King of Tyranny stands reborn. The room trembles not from magic, but from the weight of a truth that no one was prepared to carry. The next day at the academy, Anos walks into his classroom, casually greeting his peers and warning that defiance will be met with massacre. His words earn nothing but cold stares. He takes a seat next to Misha and asks her opinion opinion on his humor, to which she quietly notes that everyone misunderstood him. He soon notices the lingering glances directed at him. Misha explains the rumors circulating, particularly about the symbol on his shoulder. This mark reflects the results of the magic power and aptitude tests, and Anis's symbol is unprecedented within the academy. It labels him as something no one expected to see, that he is a misfit. In a world of fragile standards, the strongest are always labeled misfits. Misha continues to explain to Anos that only descendants of the founding ancestors are permitted to enroll in the Demon King Academy. No one from the Demon King's bloodline has ever been branded unfit to become the next Demon Lord until Anos, the first misfit. When Power writes its own script, the title of Misfits is just the first page. Anos finds it peculiar. He doesn't recall making any mistakes during the aptitude test. Out of curiosity, he asks Misha if she knows the name of the founding ancestor. She nods but admits they're forbidden from speaking it aloud. Resting his hand gently on her head, he tells her to simply think it. Misha's mind conjures the name, the Demon King of Tyranny, Avos Dilhevia. When memory serves a fraud, the real king sharpens his patience. Anos phrases. That name means nothing to him. Misha is puzzled. After all, there isn't a soul in the demon realm who doesn't know the Demon King's name. Yet to Anos it is clear. For 2,000 years the world has remembered the wrong name. He knows that the history may lie, but power never forgets its origin. He asks Misha what people believe about this so-called Demon King. She recites that he was known for being both ruthless and benevolent, forever prioritizing the demon clan above himself. A selfless warrior, they say. Anos finds this depiction suspiciously idealized. She continues, explaining that the closer one's thoughts and emotions align with the founding ancestor, the higher their aptitude to become the Demon Lord. She was just about to reveal who's currently considered the closest match when a girl passes by, interrupting the moment. Later, their homeroom teacher, Amelia Rudwell, introduces herself to Class 2. She announces that they'll first be forming teams and invites anyone with the confidence to lead to step forward. The leadership isn't just symbolic, the leaders must be capable of casting the troop magic, Guise, which amplifies a team's overall strength. The king, who casts it, supports the team but is left vulnerable alone. Amelia informs them that in 1 week, they'll be tested in a team battle using Guise. When she calls for volunteers, Anos raises his hand alongside the girl from before. Yet Amelia immediately rejects him, claiming that white uniformed hybrids aren't eligible. White uniforms, fabric of peace worn in halls stitched with hate. It is like when a uniform becomes a target, ignorance becomes the archer, and Yanya stands unfazed. If that's the case, then he'll simply prove that hybrids are not inferior to demon royalty. In a world stitched by bloodlines, a white uniform bears the stain of prejudice. He proposes sealing the claim with a zect, which is a magical contract. Amelia agrees but warns that if he fails, he must apologize and withdraw from the academy. The zect is drawn up, and Anos quickly spots a flaw in it, a flaw that's existed unnoticed for 2,000 years. With a small alteration, he doubles the spell's potency. Amelia is stunned, left with no choice but to allow his candidacy. The students begin to whisper, questioning the identity of the so-called misfit who just outclassed a teacher. When power speaks, even the most stubborn teachers find themselves outclassed. The girl introduces herself as Sasha Necron, descendant of the 7 elder demon emperors, also known as the Witch of Destruction. Misha quietly tells Anos that Sasha is her older sister, though Anos finds it odd that siblings should both be purebloods, yet Misha wears a hybrid's white uniform. She answers simply that it was a family decision. 2 sisters, 2 uniforms, one draped in nobility, the other wrapped in prejudice. When Anos introduces himself, he states his name plainly as Anos Voldegod, the Demon King of Tyranny. He declares that the Demon King everyone believes in is a fraud. Pretenders may borrow the name, but the heir itself remembers the true Demon King. Amelia then instructs the class to choose their team leaders. Misha joins Anos immediately. Sasha soon approaches, amused to see Anos with only one teammate. She mocks Misha, claiming she's not a demon nor human, but a doll brought to life by magic and an empty vessel without soul or will. Anos dismisses Sasha's insult, remarking that anyone who thinks magical constructs lack soul or life clearly doesn't understand magic well. She says Misha an empty vessel pretending to be a person. Enraged, Sasha activates her demonic eyes of destruction, but Anos remains unaffected. Staring directly into her eyes, he comments that her power isn't half bad and invites her to join his team, suggesting she might get closer to Misha that way. Sasha snaps back, stating that she has never once thought of Misha as her sister. A doll molded by spells holds no place in noble bloodlines. Later, after class, Anos and Misha encounter Sasha again. She challenges Anos to a duel with a wager. The loser must obey any command the winner gives. If she loses, she'll join his team. If he loses, she intends to own him entirely. Sasha has confidence as sharp as a blade, whereas Anos is confident in his victory, so he accepts. A week later, the team competition begins in a dense jungle. The match ends when a team's king is defeated or loses control of Guise. Anos and Misha, just a 2-member team, face Sasha's well-rounded squad. Misha, as a guardian class, suggests setting up defensive positions, but Anos opts for outmaneuvering instead. Sasha is alerted that 3 Demon King castles have suddenly appeared in enemy territory, an impossible feat for a duo. She suspects a trap and sends scouts, only to be shocked when Anos himself materializes right outside their main castle. While her team braces for battle, Anos lifts the entire castle with one hand, hurls it into the air, then spins it before flinging it away like a toy. Sasha, though injured, rallies her team to unleash their ultimate spell, Geo Graze, an exceptionally powerful fire spell. She motivates her comrades to prove the pride of demon royalty. Anos watches with admiration, thinking it's a shame that Sasha stands against him. The spell is cast, blazing toward him, but with a mere finger, Anos reflects it effortlessly. Sasha orders a retreat, but the spell is sent right back to them. She barely dodges before Anos appears before her. Breathless and shocked, Sasha accuses him of using Geo Graze alone. Anos corrects her that it was Grega, the weakest fire spell. Sasha Sasha collapses humiliated. Anos reminds her of the bet. She now belongs to his team. Enraged, she urges him to kill her instead, unwilling to accept such disgrace, but he offers his hand instead. She refuses, vowing that one day she'll become strong enough to kill him. Arrogance shines brightest before it shatters. Anos merely laughs. If killing him were that easy, he would have died long ago. He also reminds her that Misha wants to be on the same team as her. Concerned for her sister, Misha approaches Sasha, who relents but insists this is nothing more than a contract that her soul remains her own. When Sasha asks if Anos recruited her just for Misha's sake, Anos reveals his true reason, which is her eyes. You won't. He's never seen more beautiful or powerful demonic eyes. She has eyes like gleaming jewels, destined for greatness if paired with humility. Later, back at Anos's home, his mother is delighted, even to see her son bring home yet another girl. His father is just as stunned. After all, he never managed to bring two women home at once. Bringing two girls home, it is either a bold move or the start of a legendary misunderstanding. Over dinner, his mother jokes that she should start preparing wedding invitations. His father grins, muttering that the kid's outpacing his old man already. Misha and Sasha, caught between awkwardness and amusement, quietly enjoy the bizarrely warm meal. Later, Anos walks Misha and Sasha home. As they part ways, he asks Misha if they managed to make up. She whispers that she'll tell him tomorrow, leaving Sasha suspicious of their secret exchange. As he leaves, Sasha returns alone to speak with him. She thanks him, admitting that thanks to him, she was able to reconcile with Misha. Then, almost shyly, she asks a strange question, that what would he do if his fate was already decided? Anos answers simply that if it's a fate he doesn't like, then he'll just destroy it. Chains of fate shatter when true power refuses to kneel. Sasha chuckles, asking if he truly believes fate can be broken. He confirms without hesitation. She beckons him closer, first commanding, then politely requesting when he refuses. As he steps in, she grabs his hand and kisses him softly on his lips. It's just a kiss between friends, she claims, blushing furiously. She confesses that it was her first time doing something like this with anyone, thanks her sincerely, prompting her to call him a weird mongrel before he teleports away. Watching him disappear, Sasha smiles to herself, quietly grateful that their paths crossed. Even a proud noble finds delight when destiny introduces true supremacy. Anos and Misha sat together in class when Misha mentioned her wish to prepare a gift. Anos inquired further, and Misha revealed that it was for Sasha's birthday. Anos remarked that Sasha would likely appreciate whatever Misha chose. Misha considered that clothing might be a suitable choice. Every gift considered is a step closer to melting the frost between sisters. During their conversation, Sasha arrived and seated herself beside Anos. Though Anos reminded her that it was not her designated seat, Sasha justified it by noting the seat was unclaimed and felt it convenient to sit as a team. Sasha informed Anos that her former teammates expressed interest in joining his team, but Anos declined. Sasha appeared surprised by this refusal, yet Anos believed that the three of them sufficed as a capable force. He believes that three shadows are strong enough to eclipse an entire army. However, Sasha argued that depending on the upcoming test, a team might require more than 5 members, especially since participating in the class competition demanded a minimum of 7 members. Anos had been unaware of such a rule. Later, Amelia announced that the awakening of the Demon King of Tyranny was anticipated that year. As part of the occasion, one of the 7 elder demon emperors would deliver a special lecture on advanced magic. Sasha questioned whether Anos had any knowledge of these figures, sarcastically attributing his ignorance to his status as a misfit. She then explained that 2,000 years ago, the founding ancestor used his blood to create 7 subordinates. The first demon clan directly descended from him, collectively known as the 7 elder demon emperors. Additionally, she mentioned that the Demon King Academy was established by these emperors to nurture future demon lords. Anos found this structure peculiar, noting that even for an academy led by beings from the mythical age, their governance seemed poorly managed, especially since none appeared aware of his identity. Soon after, Amelia prompted Anos to mind his manners and introduced Lord Ivas Necron of the 7 elder demon emperors to the classroom. Upon seeing Ivas, Anos greeted him, noting that it had been a long time. The students reacted in shock, and Amelia hastily apologized to Ivas, promising Anos his expulsion. However, Ivas dismissed the need for expulsion and sought clarification on Anos's greeting. Anos affirmed that it had indeed been 2,000 years. Ivas admitted that his memories from that era were gone, retaining only recollections of his master, the Demon King of Tyranny. Anos encouraged Ivas to remember him, but upon realizing Ivas's memory loss was genuine, he decided to intervene, a loyalist lost to the fog of fabricated history. Approaching Ivas, Anos placed a hand on his face, prompting alarm from the students and an outcry from Amelia. Yet, Anos discerned no memories within Ivas's mind. Even the sharpest minds falter when memories are rewritten by deceit. Ivas questioned Anos's identity, but Anos deferred, suggesting they resume their discussion later and prompting Ivas to begin his lecture. Taking the stage, Ivas introduced the subject of fusion magic, a secret technique of the Necron family. He explained that fusion magic combined multiple spells, and that by using the magic power of different wavelengths, the overall strength of magic could be amplified over 10-fold. Sasha commented that Anos should either take notes or store the information in a memory crystal, but Anos assured that he had already memorized it. He has a mind where every word is etched deeper than any ink could ever reach. Observing that Sasha herself was not taking notes, he asked her reason. She replied that as a direct descendant of the Necron family, she had already mastered the technique. When asked if she was close to Ivas, she denied it, describing the 7 elder demon emperors as godlike figures she had only met once. After the lecture, Ivas approached Anos, curious about the earlier interaction. Anos revealed that he had used the origin magic Revide to rewind time locally and retrieve lost memories, only to discover references to a master named Avos Dilhevia. It appeared that history itself had been altered. Ivas sought clarification, and Anos confirmed that the name of the Demon King of Tyranny had been rewritten to Abo Stilhevia by an unknown party 2,000 years ago. History rewritten, truth buried, and a false name crowned in place of the rightful sovereign. Though Anos could not identify the culprit, he suspected it was the one responsible for erasing Ivis's memories. Ivis acknowledged that the logic held if his memories had indeed been tampered with, but he questioned whether Anos himself might have done it. Considering his temporal powers, Anos accepted the suspicion, admitting he would think similarly in Ivis's place. Ivis declared a neutral stance for the time being, though something about Anos stirred his recollection. Anos appreciated the gesture but wondered if Ivis was feigning ignorance. It became clear that Abo Stilhevia did exist and was impersonating him. Later, Emilia handed Anos Misha's badge, which she had dropped. He found Misha sitting alone holding an unopened letter from her guardian, cherished as a good luck charm. After returning the badge, they overheard Sasha clashing with her former teammates, who criticized her for remaining with the Misfits team. Frustrated, Sasha stormed off. Subsequently, the dungeon exam was announced, taking place in the Demon Palace, Del's Gade. Teens were to collect magical items, weapons, and armor for points, with all spoils belonging to team leaders. The students dashed ahead, but Anos remained still, prompting Sasha to urge him to hurry. Anos proposed retrieving the scepter on the altar of the lowest level for a perfect score. Sasha acknowledged the legend but dismissed it, noting that even the teachers had never reached that depth. Anos identified the scepter as the Demon King's staff that enhanced guise, claiming knowledge of its existence because the castle was his. They ventured inside, finding that prior students had cleared the monsters. Anos told Misha that the treasure room at the lowest level held special items and that any remaining treasures would be hers. He also learned that Misha's birthday was the following day, revealing that she and Sasha were twins, both 15 years old. They are two sides of the same coin. One sparkles with fire, the other chills with ice. Flip it, and either way, someone's getting frozen or burned. Upon encountering a dead end, Anos revealed a secret passageway hidden behind illusions, imperceptible even to Sasha's demonic eyes. Breaking through the wall, they descended to the lowest level, discovering flowing lakes and a skylight channeling both sunlight and moonlight. The altar's door was protected by anti-magic barriers, but Anos advised using intellect instead of brute force. He then effortlessly opened the door. Inside stood the scepter. While Sasha approached it, Anos guided Misha to the treasure room to select a suitable gift for Sasha. Misha favored the Phoenix Robe, an item that grants the wearer immortal flames. Nearby, she noticed the lily pad ice ring, known for emitting cold capable of freezing the seven seas, though she declined it when offered. Returning, Misha presented the Phoenix Robe to Sasha, who gratefully accepted and asked Anos to step outside while she tried it on. Misha thanked Anos for enabling her to make Sasha happy, expressing that this was the happiest day of her life. A serene heart finds its delight in watching a beloved soul reclaim their laughter. Later, when Anos re-entered, he found Misha lying with a dagger lodged in her chest. The hand that should have held tenderly instead struck with ruthless resolve. Sasha mockingly addressed Anos, declaring that a simple kiss had deceived him and that her performance was aimed solely at securing first place in the dungeon exam. She scorned the notion of befriending the junk doll. Sibling bonds turned brittle, fractured by a single merciless thrust. Observing that Misha still showed faint signs of life, Anos labeled Sasha's act as a poor excuse for betrayal, noting that the wound was superficial. As team leader, he reclaimed the ownership of their contract. Sasha canceled their zect and taunted that Misha would perish unless Anos intervened. Anos remarked that her words betrayed a hidden desire for Misha's survival. Sasha claimed that she had activated conditioning magic, ensuring any attempt by Anos to act would worsen Misha's condition. Confident, she stated that he would need 10 seconds to break the barrier and heal Misha, enough time for her to escape. However, Anos grasped her, revealing that Misha had already been healed from the moment he saw her fall. The scene Sasha witnessed was merely an illusion crafted by his magic. He deduced that Sasha's demonic eyes of destruction would have manifested if her emotions had genuinely spiked, particularly when discussing birthdays, but they did not. Instead, her eyes only faltered when receiving the robe, likely when she decided to carry out her plan. Her entire demeanor remained cold, suggesting she was performing, a gaze sharper than any blade, discerning the act behind the aggression. Anos pressed her to reveal her true feelings, causing her eyes to glow and the castle walls to tremble. Misha intervened, asking Anos to let Sasha go, then rushed to her side to check her condition. Sasha, shouting at Misha to stay away, fled, declaring that Anos would soon regret his actions. Anos then asked Misha to share more about herself. Though hesitant, she opened up, trusting Anos as a kind friend. Meanwhile, Sasha noted that only 7 hours and 16 seconds remained until midnight of her 15th birthday, after which she would vanish. Anos questioned whether the term magic doll applied to Misha's existence. Misha clarified that the term was inaccurate, explaining that in truth, she had never existed in the world to begin with. A moment of vulnerability unveiled, truth laid bare before the Demon King's unwavering gaze. Misha revealed her true self to Anos, shedding the layers of secrecy she had long carried. In his calm presence, the wall she had built began to crumble, allowing her hidden pain and fears to surface. The honesty between them created a rare moment of trust, where vulnerability was met with understanding rather than judgment. Anos listened intently, recognizing the strength it took to open up so fully. This confession marked the beginning of a deeper bond, one forged not by power alone, but by genuine acceptance. In that moment, Misha found solace, no longer needing to hide behind masks or pretenses. At midnight on her 15th birthday, Misha reveals that she is destined to disappear. Anos realizes she means that she and Sasha are originally one being. The clue was when Sasha unilaterally broke their Zect contract, an impossible act unless both parties are the same person. Anos recalls that 2,000 years ago there was a spell capable of dividing one person into two. He asks if Ibis Necron was behind this, and Misha confirms. She explains that while still a fetus, she inherited part of Sasha's soul, becoming an existence that should not have been born. Destiny tried to write her out, but Misha just ghosted the script and made made her own debut. Anos then asks whether Ibis cast fusion magic on them both, noting that the spell for merging sources doesn't last indefinitely. Since they were separated by magic, they would inevitably fuse back together. Anos concludes that Ibis exploited these unique properties to create a superior demon race. Misha clarifies that Ibis used a division fusion resurrection magic called Dino Jixes. Anos scoffs, calling it a foolish and reckless spell. Misha admits she wished for a normal life, but her fate was predetermined. She would disappear, leaving only Sasha behind. Misha's ready to vanish like a magician's trick just to keep Sasha shining on stage. She has lived knowing she only had 15 years. Anos smiles, insisting that first they must stop Sasha. Together, Anos and Misha catch up to Sasha. Anos informs Sasha that Misha wishes to reconcile. Sasha lashes out at Anos and accuses Misha of forgetting her betrayal. Misha asks Sasha sincerely whether she truly hates her. Sasha proposes a duel with Anos. She would form a magic circle, and if Anos could control the magic, she would answer Misha's question. If he failed, he would follow her orders. Anos accepts, but to honor her courage, he keeps his eyes closed while she prepares the spell. Sasha completes the dual magic circles. Zexus and Delt are creations. Anos recognizes that Zexus synchronizes sources. Sasha tells him that's the only one he needs to control. Anos chuckles, knowing she never intended to win. He effortlessly gains control and wins the duel, compelling Sasha to fulfill her promise. Sasha admits that it's her fate to live while Misha disappears, but she has researched magic to defy that fate. She offers to give Misha the rest of her life. The spell would transform Misha into the original Sasha, but it required Misha to reject her. Sasha insists Misha will manage because she had worked hard to make Misha hate her, though in truth, she had always loved her deeply. Sasha activates Delt, but nothing happens. Shocked, Sasha hears Misha express her affection, finding Sasha's awkwardness endearing. Sasha, in tears, pleads for Misha to reject her so she can save her, but Misha refuses to disappear. She hugs Sasha, promising to always stay by her side. Afterward, she tells Anos she's content because she made up with Sasha, 2 miracles in her life, but Anos assures her that the real miracle is still ahead. Sasha begs Anos to let Misha stay. No matter the storm, Sasha's heart beats strongest when it came to protecting Misha. Anos poses a question that if a parent had a powerful daughter with little Demon King aptitude and a son with little power but great aptitude, and both were dying, whom should they save? He answers his own question and comes up with the conclusion that he would save both. He plans to change the past because originally, Sasha and Misha were 2 separate beings. If he sends their sources back 15 years using Revive, they'll be reborn as twins with distinct sources. He warns that the spell is massive, but he will share his magic via guides. Their task is to focus their demonic eyes on their origin, with the final condition being their belief in the founding ancestor, the true Demon King himself. Suddenly, Ibis stabs Anos, declaring that the sisters were meant to be vessels for the founding ancestor via Dino Jixes. But Anos opens his eyes unbothered and pushes Ibis aside that he had anticipated this. Anos pulls out the weapon from his chest and activates Revive. Sasha and Misha hold hands as the time travel spell begins, yet their journey halts when Hugo Larabiaz, a guardian god of the heavenly realm who controls time, appears. Anos politely asks the god to let this pass, as he only wants to save one demon. Hugo refuses, declaring punishment for disrupting time. Time rewinds for Ibis, who is ordered to annihilate Anos. Though time is stopped, Anos shields himself. Ibis attacks, but Anos taunts him, stating that crushing his heart isn't enough to kill him. Ibis breaks the shield, prompting Sasha to tell Anos to run, but he assures them to trust him. Ibis stabs Anos again, thinking this will finish him. He claims that the day Anos fled battle 2,000 years ago determined this outcome. Yet Anos reappears, alive and unfazed. Ibis freezes time completely, turning the sisters into statues, yet Anos remains unaffected. Ibis is stunned. No divine power could stop Anos. Ibis insists that time cannot be changed because the gods decree it, but Anos counters that the fate imposed by gods is not absolute. He recalls the sisters' wishes to destroy that fate and see miracles. Ibis attacks again, calling Anos a foolish founder, but Anos retorts that being Demon King is not about power, title, or authority, it is simply about being oneself. Determined, Anos promises to obliterate every injustice, starting now. A glass shatters and Sasha calls out for help, determined not to be defeated by fate. Anos tells them to swear their belief in him once more. As they swear, Anos shatters Ibis's 2,000-year-old plan. He summons magic and reminds Ibis where they stand inside his castle, Delsgate. He shows him what it means to face the Demon King on his own ground. Wielding the demon sword Venuznor, which annihilates all, Anos strikes Ibis, crushing even divine order. Ibis cannot heal, and Anos finishes him. Afterward, Anos calls his subordinate, who shares his blood. The subordinate reports that while the magic sword destroyed both the demon and the guardian god, one still remains. Anos demands an explanation. The subordinate admits his memory is incomplete, most of it erased likely by someone who murdered him and fused with his source. Anos retrieves Ibis's true memories by placing his hand on his forehead. It seems someone linked to Abas Stilhevia possessed Ibis. Anos orders Ibis to investigate, starting with the other 7 elder demon emperors. Sasha and Misha return from the time spell. Anos urges them to hurry back before 9 to score perfectly. Sasha questions his need for a perfect score, given his power. Anos jokes that despite changing the past, he's never had a perfect test score. Upon returning, Misha is exhausted, nearly fainting. Anos picks up the letter she dropped. She becomes emotional, thinking of the kindness of her guardians but confessing she had been too scared to read the letter, believing the previous day was her last. Sasha hugs Misha tightly, promising to live with her. Anos reflects that peace isn't so bad after all. Though he resurrected himself after endless war, this world feels like the one he wished to create. He then asks Misha for her hand and places the lily pad ice ring on her finger, the one she had admired earlier. Both he and Sasha wish her a happy birthday. She thanks him, addressing him as Lord Anos. Teasing, he reminds her of her boldness when she kissed him. Embarrassed, she insists it was just a friendly kiss. Sasha blushes, calls him a mongrel, and scolds him. With the banter settled, they all head off to enjoy the feast prepared by Anos' mother. In the classroom, students waited eagerly for the announcement of the dungeon exam results. Homeroom teacher Amelia entered, informing the class of two important updates. First, a new transfer student would join them the next day. This student was a member of the Generation of Chaos and was famously known as the Master of the Magic Sword. Amelia reminded everyone dressed in white uniforms to remain aware of their standing when engaging with this new student. Amelia treated the white uniform students as if mediocrity itself had taken form and sat in her classroom. To her, every white uniform was less a student and more a stain on the Academy's pride. Amelia's disdain dripped from every word, as though their mere presence polluted the halls of magic. She gazed at the hybrids with the same respect one might reserve for a broken wand, useless and replaceable. In Amelia's eyes, their white uniforms weren't fabric, but a flag of failure fluttering in a royal academy. Amelia treats white uniforms like cursed artifacts, fit only for display, never for glory. The second announcement concerned the scepter that Team Anos had retrieved during the dungeon exam. Before it could be appraised, it was reported stolen by an unknown party. As a temporary solution, Amelia declared that Team Anos would be granted a score of 70. Sasha immediately stood up, expressing her outrage by stating that this decision was unacceptable since the loss of the scepter was the Academy's responsibility and not the students. One of the boys interjected, suggesting that perhaps Team Anos had stolen the scepter themselves to prevent its appraisal and to hide the possibility of it being a fake. His accusation was layered with baseless humor and blame, creating murmurs in the classroom. Misa Areologus also rose an objection, asserting that the judgment was unfair. She challenged whether such measures would have been taken if royalty had been involved instead. Misa questioned if Amelia's decision was driven by discrimination against hybrids. In response, Amelia firmly reminded Misa that Unitarian campaigns were prohibited on campus. Any further defiance, Amelia warned, would result in punishment. Anos then walked forward, proposing that exposing the culprit would suffice. Standing before the very boy who had cast suspicion, Anos retrieved the stolen scepter from his possession. He then returned the scepter to Amelia with a sharp comment suggesting that any attempt to frame him should have been executed more convincingly. The class erupted in noise and shock, but Amelia quickly called for silence. She announced that the students would undergo great magic sword training under the guidance of Sir Gaios and Sir Idol, two of the 7 elder demon emperors. After class, Misa approached Anos to express gratitude for the support displayed earlier. Discussion then shifted to the Unitarians, which Amelia had mentioned. Misa explained that Dilhade was ruled by pureblood royalty, while hybrids were marginalized. She believes that the demons share a single pride, strength, not status. The Unitarians were formed to advocate for unity among demons, disregarding the divisions of bloodline. Misa mentioned that the Unitarians viewed Anos as the demon king of tyranny, and that, while their ideals were still distant, they had many allies. Strength blooms where unity takes root. Among them was Sir Melheis Boran, one of the 7 elder demon emperors. She acknowledged that having such influential support enabled the Unitarians to pursue their campaigns more effectively. An invitation was extended to visit the Unitarians. Later, the group visited the Union Tower, a place where students gather for various extracurricular activities. Misa proudly introduced the headquarters of the Anos Fan Union. Upon entering, the members reacted with overwhelming excitement at seeing Anos. With fans like a festival and power like a storm, legends tend to feel crowded. The room was filled with items and pictures dedicated to Anos. Sasha found a book brimming with images of him, while Misa admitted that these could serve as evidence if the fan union was ever scrutinized. When strength walks, admirers follow like shadows. Misa then guided them to another room to show a treasured possession, which is a gift from her father. She revealed her mixed heritage, being the daughter of a demon father and a spirit mother who had passed away shortly after her birth. Her father remained a mystery, though she believed him to be of royal descent. Misha reflected that royalty traditionally ensured pure blood lineage, making any hybrid offspring unfit for royal status. This explained why Misa's father likely kept his connection to her hidden. The magic sword in Misa's possession was a token from her father, given on her 10th birthday. She believed that her father held the other half of the sword. Hope was expressed for a future where demons of all kinds could coexist and laugh together with their families. A request was made to join Anos' team, with a promise to prove the depth of her resolve. Joining legends isn't a choice, it's a calling written in courage. Soon after, attention shifted to Sasha, who noticed that the second she touched the sword, her magic power was drained. It was noted that the master of the magic sword was expected to appear that day. Students were informed about the upcoming magic sword tournament, aimed at determining Dilhade's top swordsman. Participants were challenged to pull swords, and those who succeeded would face Gaios Anzem or Idol Anzio. Anos was asked about the challenge, and it was noted that the sword seemed to reject Sasha. A clarification followed, recounting that during the mythical age, there existed a holy sword forged by a human swordsmith, blessed by the gods and inhabited by a sword spirit, a sword even Anos couldn't draw. He confidently pulled the sword presented to him. Gaios praised Anos and prepared to face him, while Idol called for others with swords drawn. A transfer student succeeded in pulling a sword and quickly defeated Idol. Gaios was also bested. It was not unusual for even an elder demon emperor to lose. The transfer student's swordsmanship was noted as impressive, though it was apparent that he was holding back. Emilia invited the transfer student to become the team leader, but the offer was declined. Instead, the transfer student approached Anos, introduced himself as Ray Gransdoran, and requested to join Anos' team. Observing the symbol of Anos, Ray expressed surprise that a demon of such stature was considered a misfit, questioning the aptitude test reliability. Anos saw potential in Ray, but said a condition of demonstrating true resolve would be necessary for acceptance. The next day, the team competition between Team Anos and Team Ray commenced. Ray addressed his team with humility, acknowledging his unorthodox leadership style. The notion of royalty and hierarchy seemed overly complicated to Ray, and skepticism was expressed about whether the founding ancestor ever endorsed such rigid systems. Anos directly faced Ray, using only a tree branch as a weapon. Meanwhile, Sasha and Misha worked together to build defenses, utilizing the lily pad ice ring to quickly construct an ice castle. Anos instructed them to hold their positions, even if outnumbered, maintaining the honor of being his subordinates. Sasha engaged in combat against Gwyneth, while Misha prepared a siege spell, linking the magical lines and releasing a powerful barrage. By deploying Hellfire Mortar, they amplified their magic, successfully activating Geograze and defeating Gwyneth. This success revealed that their magic had been amplified by the fusion of their past selves through Dinojixes. Unexpectedly, Misa attacked Sasha. Concurrently, Ray, having neutralized previous blows, engaged Anos more effectively. The fight between them showcased Ray's adaptability. Sasha donned a robe to continue her battle. Misha joined, determined to aid against Gwyneth, as students within the magic structure desired acknowledgement from Anos. Misha and Sasha combined their magic, fire and ice, to create Ga Glade, a fusion magic that overwhelmed the opponent. For the first time, their synchronization was perfect, prompting a celebratory high five. Suddenly, an explosion shook the ground, resembling an earthquake. The mountain was blown apart, and the river dried up, leading Sasha to call out to Anos. Calmly, Anos assured that the forest's magic would restore everything by morning. Ray pressed the attack again, but Anos skillfully parried with the tree branch. Ray had made swift adjustments, and both fighters began to enjoy the intensity of the duel. Anos expressed that it had been a long time since such a challenging fight occurred, while Ray confessed it was his first time enjoying such prolonged combat. Ultimately, Ray was defeated, but acknowledged a sense of familiarity, as though an encounter had occurred 2,000 years ago. Anos speculated that a resemblance to someone from that era might explain the sensation. When asked if the claim of being the Demon King of Tyranny was true, Ray admitted that such a revelation would not be surprising. Having accepted defeat, Ray officially joined the team. A handshake sealed the new alliance, built on respect and the bonds forged in combat. Only a fool ignores the call to stand with the unstoppable. At home, Anos' mother radiated joy upon learning of his latest victory. Misa sat at the table, appearing uncertain as she asked if her presence was truly welcome at a gathering meant to celebrate Team Anos. Assurance was given that her presence was not only welcome but expected, as she had become one of his subordinates. Acknowledgement was given to her potential, as the spell she employed in the previous battle resembled the signature move of Lignan, the great spirit of water, suggesting a connection between them. Anos' father proudly commented that such achievements foreshadowed the making of a fine demon lord, recalling his dream. The conversation shifted when the mention of Sir Elio Luduel, the mid-haze demon lord, emerged. Luduel's name rang familiar. Misha noted that he was, in fact, Amelia's father. Later that night, curiosity arose regarding Ray and Misa's whereabouts. It was stated that they had stepped out for some air. Meanwhile, Anos' mother shared an old photo album of his childhood, leading to the realization that Misha had been correct. Anos was indeed a newborn. A reflection followed on the challenges faced during his birth, as complications had nearly claimed his life in the womb. With fervent prayers, his mother vowed to cherish and raise him no matter his nature, feeling that her prayers had been answered. Regardless of his differences from other children, the only important thing was his well-being. Elsewhere, gratitude was expressed by Misa to Ray for enabling her inclusion in Team Anos. Ray reflected regretfully, admitting that instead of confronting Anos, he should have targeted the Necron sisters. Perhaps if one of them had been defeated, the Fan Union girls could have joined his team. An apology was extended for prioritizing personal feelings over the team's victory. Misa, unable to fully understand Ray's indifferent stance on bloodlines, considered him the embodiment of Unitarian ideals. A gentle inquiry was made about her health, given her half-spirit, half-demon heritage. Misa admitted to occasional weakness but insisted she managed well. Ray observed that hybrids of her kind rarely lived long, especially after using spirit magic, yet she appeared to be an exception. Even she remained uncertain of her own nature. By morning, in the classroom, Amelia announced the approaching Magic Sword tournament and revealed that select students would represent the class. Applause followed for Anos and Ray, who were among those chosen. Instructions were given to both to secure a magic sword before the tournament. After class, Anos, standing with Ray, remarked that the last thing the royalty desired was a hybrid winning the tournament, implying that some hidden agenda was in play. Misa approached, announcing the arrival of Sir Melheis Baran, one of the 7 elder demon emperors. Upon seeing Anos, Melheis was overcome with emotion, bowing deeply and weeping. Anos prompted a recollection, and Melheis expressed shame, admitting that his memories had been forcibly erased. However, his source retained the truth. He recounted that 2,000 years prior, after constructing the Great Wall at the cost of his life, the next memory was awakening in the Great Spirit Forest of Ahurthurn, devoid of memories. Likely, the forest was a refuge from unknown attackers. Climbing over the wall that divided Dilhadia and Ahurthurn, it took him a century to regain sufficient magic to return, only to find that the title of Demon King of Tyranny had changed to Avos Dilhevia. 2,000 years of borrowed glory, now the true shadow reclaims its throne. Upon learning that the one who nominated Anos for the tournament was present in Delsgade, Melheis speculated that the royal supremacists orchestrated this, aiming to extinguish the Unitarians' hope embodied by Anos. A respectful request was made for Anos to consider withdrawing from the tournament, believing such a move might compel Avos Dilhevia to reveal himself. Back home, Misha prepared a meal, bringing a humorous atmosphere to the kitchen with her earnest efforts. Anos' mother shared that Amelia had visited, informing them of his participation in the Magic Sword tournament, a fact suggesting her strong desire for his involvement. Although uncertain about entering, consideration was given to the need for a reputable magic sword, essential for advancing toward the Demon Lord title. Before his mother could reveal important news, hesitation stopped her. Everyone gathered to enjoy Grat, with Misha feeding Anos the first bite, which turned out delicious. Afterward, afterward, a question arose about how to thank Misha. She suggested an outing, which was scheduled for the next day. Their destination was the Magic Model Shop, homeland of the Dragon of Creation and Misha's favorite spot. Upon arrival, news was shared that a buyer had been found for Misha's latest model. She intended to demonstrate her craft, but Ano showcased his own skills, crafting a miniature castle that replicated an entire town. He believes that it is a tyrant's hobby, sculpting cities before breakfast. The shop owner was stunned by this masterpiece. While observing his intricate creations, Misha became disheartened, feeling that Anos, capable of achieving so much, had no need for her. Anos reassured her, acknowledging her keen eye and proficiency in creation magic, predicting that she might surpass him in these fields someday. Unlike his destructive power, her creation magic represented its antithesis. Encouragement was given to deepen her understanding of her magic. Their path led to the Silvervine restaurant, a cat cafe. There, Ivis appeared disguised as a cat, apologizing for prior events. Anos tasked Ivis with investigating Melheis and the Unitarians, revealing that someone else secretly led them. The identity remained unknown, but another figure linked to Log North Magic Hospital was also under suspicion. The hospital, built under the ceremonial leadership of Demon Lord Elio of Midhaze, warranted further scrutiny. Ivis was instructed to continue these investigations, including the Magic Sword Tournament. Subsequently, a visit was made to Log North Magic Hospital. No immediate suspicion arose, but Ray was encountered there, visiting his ailing mother. Anos offered assistance if the doctors could do no more, though Ray declined politely, expressing gratitude. Even the sharpest blade dulls when a mother lies in pain. A private note was made that Ray seemed slightly different, prompting Anos to assign Ivis to investigate further. Ray sat quietly, holding his mother's hand as she lay in critical condition. Steel can defend kingdoms, but not mend a mother's fragile breath. During the tournament, Anos' mother arrived to cheer for him, nearly revealing a secret before holding back. Later, Ivis reported to Anos that Melheis had no involvement with the day's tournament, but Gaios and Idol, both of the 7 Elder Demon Emperors, appeared to be manipulating events. Ray's mother was diagnosed with spirit disease, a condition unknown 2 millennia ago and extremely rare. A warrior unmatched yet powerless against fate's cruelest strikes. Anos considered withdrawing from the tournament to observe Abos Dilhevia's reaction. The first round of the Dilhadi Magic Sword Tournament commenced. Trud Ludowell of the Long North Magic Sword Association, the reigning champion and Dilhade's strongest swordsman, appeared. He was identified as Amelia's elder brother. Next, Anos Voldegode of the Demon King Academy Delsgate entered. The crowd voiced disdain, claiming a hybrid could never aspire to be the Demon Lord. Anos' mother, incensed by the insults, declared her unwavering belief in her son's destiny. A mother's faith, stronger than any magic or prophecy. Meanwhile, Anos' father, despite being injured, presented a magic sword forged from adamantine steel by his own master. He expressed that a victory would symbolize that even hybrids could ascend to demon lordship. This sparked a resolve within Anos to face the hidden challenges rather than cower before a faceless enemy. Assurance was given to Misa that any trap laid would be shattered, driven by the desire to see his parents' joyous faces. On the battlefield, Kroot taunted, suggesting he expected Anos to have fled. The first round began while elsewhere Ray sat alone, deep in contemplation. The battle commenced with Anos and Kroot launching fierce attacks against each other. As the duel raged on, the students began singing an anthem, but before the melody concluded, Anos had already shattered Kroot's demon sword. The victor was swiftly declared. Kroot stood in disbelief, questioning how such a modest-looking sword could be the cause of his defeat. In response, Anos emphasized that there existed a strength beyond mere magic power within a sword forged with true craftsmanship and devotion. A reminder was issued not to underestimate the value and power of such a weapon. Whispers spread among the spectators, curious about the identity of Anos' father. Overcome with emotion, his father's eyes filled with tears. Anos, meanwhile, sat observing the ongoing matches. The outcome of the second match of the first round was soon decided. Ray of the Log North Magic Sword Association emerged victorious. After the match, Ray entered the room where Anos and Misa were present. Anticipating their unspoken questions, Ray addressed them directly. Misa sought clarity regarding his reasons for joining the Log North Magic Sword Association and whether the Royalists had offered him any incentives. Ray disclosed that the Royalists had promised a lifetime of wealth along with the title of Demon Lord. Declaring himself a Royalist, he distanced himself, stating that friendship between them was no longer possible. Before leaving, Ray coldly declared an intention to kill Anos. Without delay, Ray launched a sudden attack, landing a hit, but Anos retaliated by seizing his chest. Ray confessed that he aimed to sever Anos' head and limbs, while Anos retorted that the plan had always been to crush Ray's heart between his fingers. Blood stained Anos' hands, and upon closer inspection, a collar was noticed around Ray's neck. There was also a detectable presence of magical gear embedded within Ray's body, a contractual magic sword likely designed to destroy his source under specific conditions. It became evident that Ray was under duress, potentially held hostage, especially considering his earlier mention of his hospitalized mother. Strength feels hollow when the one cherished most fades before the eyes. Now, as the tournament progressed, Anos advanced to the finals. The Royalists remained unconcerned, confident that Ray would eliminate Anos in due time. After the matches, during the celebrations, Anos' mother requested the sword from him, adhering to the tournament rules that restricted the use of any alternative weapon in the finals. Though the sword proved too heavy for her, she vowed to protect it at all costs. Soon after, teleportation brought Anos and his companions to Ray's mother, whose magic power was fading and whose source grew ever sparser, resembling the ravages of old age. Observations revealed that she was not a pure-blood demon, and it was uncovered that Ray shared the same half-spirit, half-demon heritage. This led to the hypothesis that the spirit disease afflicting her was unique to those of mixed heritage. When Ray's mother opened her eyes, she recognized Anos by name, explaining that Ray had spoken frequently about him during visits. She mentioned that Ray considered Anos a new friend. Inquiry followed about the contractual contractual magic sword within Rei, to which she admitted awareness. In exchange for her treatment, Rei had become bound to the royalists, a sword traded not for honor, but for a mother's fragile heartbeat. Anos offered to heal her, suggesting that doing so would free Rei from his constraints. Understanding of the spirit disease was sought, and she explained that spirits comprised emotions, desires, rumors, and traditions, mere manifestations of such elements. In half spirit, half demons, tradition was fragile, akin to a newborn rumor, easily extinguished and gradually depleting the source. Anos proposed that passing down the tradition could restore her. When asked about her tradition, she admitted uncertainty but noted feeling somewhat stronger that day. She expressed gratitude, cherishing the rare chance to converse again. Her condition hinted that some tradition might have been transmitted unknowingly. She recounted Rei's passion for swordplay, despite his loneliness deepening after her collapse. Excitement had lit his face when sharing news of his defeat by Anos. She made a heartfelt request to free Rei, urging that he not be left to wield a cowardly sword even at the cost of her own life. Anos recognized that treating her without knowledge of her tradition posed risks, especially since spirit and demon sources differed. Sharing his life force would be futile. Considering Misa's similar lineage, a decision was made to link her source with Rei's mother. Instructions were given for Misa to channel her spirit magic, consuming her source, while Anos would infuse the generated rumors and traditions into Rei's mother using a specially created spell. The worst-case scenario, however, risked obliteration for both. Without hesitation, Anos initiated the procedure, warning that Misa would likely reach her limit before completion. During this, Anos' mother, Isabella, faced confrontation from Amelia, who demanded the contestant's sword, citing tournament regulations. Refusing to comply, Isabella was threatened with death alongside the sword. Amelia attacked the students accompanying Isabella, much to Isabella's shock, reminding Amelia that these were her beloved students. Amelia coldly dismissed this, labeling hybrids as mere thieves intruding on her classes and expressing her inability to forgive Anos for humiliating the Ludowell family. A relentless assault commenced, and the girls bravely shielded Isabella, buying her time to escape with the sword. Despite their efforts, Amelia struck them down one by one. Just as Amelia prepared to kill Isabella, Anos arrived and intercepted the attack. Surveying the unconscious students, Anos revived them and asked each to state their names, vowing never to forget them and expressing his deep indebtedness. With Amelia bound, Anos admitted his uncharacteristic rage, confessing that it nearly led to a reckless act. So, seizing her by the neck, he hurled her aside and drove his sword into her back, inflicting a fatal wound and predicting she had less than a minute to live. An ultimatum was issued: acknowledge Anos as the demon king of tyranny and plead for mercy or die. Initially defiant, Amelia eventually begged for her life, acknowledging his title. However, perceiving her plea as insincere, Anos ended her life. Using the spell Azheb, he resurrected her and inquired about the sensation of rebirth. Upon her insult, he revealed that she had been cursed to eternally reincarnate as a hybrid, regardless of how many times death claimed her. A challenge was posed to view the world anew from this altered perspective, potentially gaining insight into her previous biases. Back with Misa, Rei appeared unexpectedly, holding a knife to her neck. He questioned whether she was sharing her power with his mother. Misa expressed disbelief at his allegiance to the royalists, knowing that his mother's recovery would free him. Rei urged her to avoid getting caught in futile emotions, reminding that her Unitarian mission was to save many hybrids, which might one day demand her life. Misa declared that such a day had arrived, driven by an unyielding desire to alleviate suffering. Rei, admiring her strength, struck her, rendering her unconscious to protect her from further harm. In the shadow of power, a son kneels not for glory, but for a cure, but he feels helpless. Returning to his mother's bedside, Rei witnessed her awakening. She expressed joy at their reunion, recalling the day she had rescued a wandering, rejected Rei and brought him home. Her advice had always been to remain true to himself. With these words, she closes her eyes peacefully. Exiting the room, Rei encountered Anos, who had just arrived. The following day marked the finals of the Dilhade Magic Sword Tournament. Anos and Rei stood face to face, ready for their climactic battle. The battle commenced between Anos and Rei, with Rei expressing disbelief that Anos continued to fight despite the ongoing depletion of his magic power. He remarked that Anos' efforts were ornamental at best, revealing that the royalists had instructed him merely to stall for time, as prolonged combat would improve his chances of victory. In a surprising turn, Rei inflicted a deep wound upon himself with his sword, thereby violating his contract. Acknowledging that his death was imminent, he explained that with no ability to heal his mother, there remained no reason for Anos to perish alongside him. Anos, although surprised, recognized that Rei remained steadfast in his convictions until the very end, precisely the behavior expected of a true friend. He instructed Rei to discard any thoughts of the royalists, the Unitarians, or even his mother, affirming that the present battle concerned only the two of them. The duel reignited with such intensity that the spectators could not keep track of their movements. Even the wind struggled to catch up with the motion of their swords. The clash of swords echoed through the arena, and in the heat of battle, Rei severed Anos' arm while Anos simultaneously drove his sword into Rei's body. Blades clashed faster than eyes could blink, mere shadows dancing in the wind. It became clear that these events had been orchestrated over countless years, with Anos discerning that the implantation of the contractual magic sword within Rei, as well as his selection for the magic sword tournament, were all machinations of Melheis. Anos questioned whether Melheis truly believed that victory was secured simply because Anos had been trapped in a dimensional prison. Though weakened, his magic power reduced to less than half by the spirit drain ring, and his severed arm unhealed due to the effects of the magic sword initio, Anos still assessed the state of Rei, while two more of the 7 elder demon emperors, Gaios and Idol, appeared to join the confrontation. With formidable adversaries before him, Anos faced a grim scenario. He commented on Melheis' misstep in revealing his hand. Utilizing the spell Revive, Anos pressed his advantage when Rei suddenly reappeared, declaring that Melheis was now the one caught off guard. Melheis was stunned to see the contractual magic sword removed from Rei, a feat made possible by Anas's final strike during their battle. Despite detecting no prior signs of collusion, Rei affirmed his unwavering trust in Anos, confident that he would transcend any predicament, rendering Melheis' schemes futile. Nonetheless, Melheis insisted that victory remained his. Melheis proposed a trade to Rei, promising to treat his mother in exchange for swearing fealty to the royalists. Anos interjected, instructing Melheis to go ahead and kill her, as the loss would cost them their shield regardless. The Rei attacked Melheis, who promptly closed his dimensional window, typically safeguarded with double or triple layers of traps. At that moment, 3 windows materialized, forming what was unmistakably Benno Lavoon, the wall Anos had constructed 2,000 years ago to divide the world, sacrificing his life in the process. Melheis had integrated and preserved a fragment of Benno Lavoon within the dimensional prison, siphoning Anos' magic power to sustain the spirit drain ring. He confidently asserted that in Anos' current weakened state, further progress was futile. Nevertheless, Anos' severed arm reached out toward Melheis. Melheis opened another window, disappearing within absolute space, a domain accessible only to the spellcaster. Meanwhile, Rei remained by his mother's side when Melheis appeared via another Benno Lavoon portal, preparing to strike. Just then, Anos launched an anti-demonic spell across dimensions. Rei inquired whether Anos could create a sword powerful enough using the magic from the anti-demonic spell. Anos warned that exposing his physical body would be fatal, but Rei assured that the threat would be cut down before that could happen. With renewed determination, Rei gripped the magic sword and began slashing at Melheis' magic. Melheis laughed ominously, sensing his end approaching. As Rei's strength waned, his mother, Sheila, regained consciousness, offering to assist. Melheis observed, speculating whether a spirit was attempting to reclaim its true form. Rei protested, aware that an unstable source and a half-spirit, half-demon would result in annihilation. Nevertheless, Sheila transformed into a magical sword, which Rei wielded. Memories of his childhood with his mother fueled his resolve as he fought fiercely, cutting even through space itself. Witnessing this, Melheis questioned if this was the power of the spirit sword. Sheila momentarily reappeared, expressing pride in Rei's growth before fading away. A mother's pride gleamed brighter than the sharpest blade her son wielded. Grief-stricken, Rei was encouraged by Anos to reserve his sorrow for later. Anos pledged to create an opening for Rei to honor his mother's legacy. Melheis, gathering his weapon, asserted that Benno Lavoon still provided ample reserves, yet Anos suddenly materialized behind him, shocking Melheis by entering the supposedly impenetrable absolute space. Anos reminded Melheis of the spirit sword's unique properties, leaving Melheis in disbelief. In desperation, Melheis invoked Benno Lavoon's silo, attempting to trap Anos within. Declaring a farewell to the Demon King, he was astounded to find Anos unharmed. Another attempt to strike proved futile, as Anos countered with Venno's Nor. Though only a fraction of his former power was available post-reincarnation, the combination of the spirit drain ring and Benno Lavoon's power had reawakened his destructive sorts. A fierce clash ensued until Melheis attempted to retreat, but suddenly collapsed. Despite believing he had evaded the attack, Anos questioned his assumption, asserting that mere evasion was insufficient. Breaking through Melheis' magic, Anos drove his sword into Melheis, encountering an obstruction within him. Anos urged Melheis to regain his senses. The surroundings reverted to normal as Anos inquired whether the obstruction was the Sword of Subordination, a burdensome artifact embedded within Melheis. Regaining lucidity, Melheis apologized and revealed that an unknown entity had assaulted him after their last meeting, manipulating him ever since. Anos commanded the summoning of Gaios and Weidel, revealing that the sources of all 7 Elder Demon Emperors, except Melheis, had been fused and commandeered. Taking control of Gaios and Weidel's sources, Anos prepared to resurrect them, demanding the identity of the traitor. A masked figure appeared, prompting Anos to inquire whether this was Avos Tilhevia. The masked individual departed in silence, leaving Anos to instruct Melheis to revive Gaios and Idol. Meanwhile, the audience remained oblivious to the true events, as the battlefield was cloaked by spells that concealed both visuals and sound. Eventually, the crowd witnessed Rei lying on the ground, and the official announcement declared Anos the victor. Anos didn't just win the fight, he carved his supremacy into the air itself. Anos publicly attributed his triumph to the sword his father had lovingly forged, praising his father and moving him to tears. Afterward, Anos healed Rei, who awoke with tears in his eyes, to which Anos reassured that Sheila, Rei's mother, was safe. Embracing his mother, Sheila expressed confusion over her revival. Anos explained that by spreading the rumors and traditions comprising her origin, her true form being a sword, her source had been restored. The tradition had resonated with his earlier proclamation before the audience about the hidden strength in a lovingly forged sword. That statement, broadcast across Dilhade via magic transmission, reinforced the tradition, facilitating Sheila's recovery and revival. Sheila expressed heartfelt gratitude. Later, during the Academy's award ceremony, Anos received the commemorative gift for his victory. Sasha surprised everyone by kissing Anos while presenting the gift. She explained that the kiss was a customary formality, not a personal desire. Declaring that she had no intention of praising any Demon King but Anos, she received his approval, acknowledging that she was indeed on the right path. Sasha arrived late after oversleeping so hard, even hibernating bears sent a wake-up call. Upon finding Misha and Anos together, she immediately scolded Misha for not waking her up. Misha calmly explained that she had tried multiple ways to rouse her, but nothing worked. Anos realized that Sasha was not a morning person. Sleeping so long, even time itself filed a complaint. Teasing her, Anos offered that if she would like, he could come over and wake her himself next time. Soon after, Misa and Rei joined them, and together they proceeded to their classroom, where they were greeted by Menu Historia, the homeroom teacher for Year 3, Class 1. She informed them that she would be temporarily taking over Emilia's position. Menu then outlined the upcoming schedule schedule, announcing that in 3 weeks, inter-academy classes would be held, and the third-year students of their academy would represent them, particularly their first-year class known as the Generation of Chaos. The venue would be Azeshion's Hero Academy, Arklaniska, located in the human realm. The students murmured among themselves, surprised by the prospect of visiting the human realm for the first time. Since the curriculum did not introduce heroes until the 3rd year, Manu decided to explain herself. As she wrote on the board, she described heroes as brave warriors who had led human forces during the Age of Chaos. Their hero troop magic was said to be comparable to the demon's Geysi spell. She asked if any student knew what that was. With a snap of his fingers, Anos conjured a magic pattern, demonstrating Asla. He explained that unlike Geysi, which distributes magic power among subordinates, Asla allows subordinates to pool their magic into their leader. However, to unlock Asla's true potential, one must employ the spirit magic Ask, which converts the souls of comrades into raw magic power. Geysi was meant for defense by creating castles, while Asla was designed specifically to breach and destroy such defenses. Mayu then informed the class that there would be a Geysi versus Asla examination during the inter-academy classes and reminded them to complete their assignments. She curiously asked Anos if he was the misfit, noting his deep knowledge of hero lore. Later, Anos pondered by the window whether, now that the world was peaceful, people had forgotten the role of heroes. Sasha approached, mentioning that the remainder of the day was designated for study hall. Anos invited Sasha, Misa, and Rei to join him, suggesting it was a good opportunity for training. As they gathered, Anos and Sasha sparred. Anos remarked that Sasha's demonic eyes were capable of much more and warned her to fight as though her life depended on it, despite it being mere study hall. Misha and Rei joined in, though their efforts were easily thwarted by Anos. He critiqued Misha's craftsmanship and reminded Rei to prepare for situations where he might lose his sword in battle. Noting the presence of spirit magic, Anos captured Misa, commenting on her initial weakness. He recalled that the hero he once knew was so powerful, he barely seemed human. Although unsure whether that hero had reincarnated, he knew their opponents would carry the names of heroes. Rei, Misha, and Sasha devised a plan, creating a defensive castle. Later, Anos asked Melheis about Gaios and Idol. Melheis reported that although he had resurrected them, their sources had been overtaken 2,000 years ago. Of the 7 elder demon emperors, 3 remained likely all under Avos Dilhevia's control. Anos questioned why Melheis' source alone had been spared. Melheis warned Anos to be vigilant during the upcoming inter-academy sessions, confessing his suspicions about the true purpose of the Hero Academy in Azeshion. While officially established to cultivate contributors for national growth, it apparently also served as an elite class for reincarnated heroes. He wondered why, in a time of peace, they would train only resurrected heroes, especially when the reason was deliberately obscured. At that moment, Rei entered and greeted Anos, who invited him to choose a weapon. Rei selected the unique sword Sig Shesta, which Anos explained could transform according to the wielder's heart and soul. Without proper focus, it would remain a blunt blade. Anos reminisced about his right-hand man from 2,000 years ago, the only one capable of mastering every sword. He told Rei that he reminded him of that man, suggesting that Rei might be his reincarnation, though Rei admitted to having no clear memories, but feeling a strange connection to another era. Anos recalled his promise with Kanan that if reincarnated, Kanan would return as his friend, a bond forged beyond life and death, where even time bends to their camaraderie. Soon after, students were informed of their journey to Gyrodite, the capital of Azeshion, for inter-academy classes. They had 10 days to reach the destination, and any student who failed to arrive in time would be disqualified. As Rei, Misa, Sasha, and Misha debated their route, Anos dismissed their concerns and transported them instantly using magic. Sasha remarked that reaching the destination without effort spoiled the adventure, prompting Rei to explore the city further. Misa chose to contact the fan union, while Misha accompanied her. Anos went to investigate the Hero Academy, inviting Sasha to join him. Azeshion differed significantly from Dilhati. Sasha cautioned Anos against causing a commotion, especially with the inter-academy sessions approaching. Anos assured her that he possessed some common sense, which surprised Sasha, given his earlier ruthlessness during training. Anos praised Sasha's resilience, commending her strength and acknowledging her demonic eyes as worthy of his own. He assured her that when he complimented her eyes before, he had meant it. He asked her to promise that if his own eyes ever felt a danger beyond his reach, she would protect everyone using hers. Sasha agreed, asking in return that he stop treating her like a child. He accepted. To the Demon King, Sasha's pride is just as fragile as a child's toy castle. At the Hero Academy Arklaniska, a girl stopped them, warning that the academy was off-limits to outsiders. She introduced herself as Eleanor Bianca, a third-year student, and escorted them inside. She explained that the academy nurtured heroes across all disciplines and was established in a castle from the Great War 2,000 years prior. Sasha noticed a portrait of Kanan as they entered the library, which held magical text from across Azeshion. Eleanor recommended a book detailing Hero Kanan's defeat of the Demon King of Tyranny. Sasha questioned the human belief that Kanan had defeated the Demon King, asking about the walls that divided the world into 4 parts. Eleanor asserted that Kanan had built those walls to shield humans from demons, but Sasha angrily corrected her, revealing that it was the Demon King who sacrificed his life to create them for peace. Anos gently silenced Sasha, knowing that allowing humans to believe in Kanan's victory was necessary for their peace of mind. Anos asked Eleanor if she knew the name of the Demon King of Tyranny. She answered, Avos Dilhevia. The same misinformation spread in the demon realm. A legacy twisted. Avos Dilhevia, the greatest fraud in demonic history. Anos inquired about the elite class of reincarnated heroes, and Eleanor confirmed the existence of the Jurga Kanan class, comprised of heroes reborn from various eras. She explained that Kanan had 7 sources, and even if one survived, the others could be revived, possibly in different bodies. Just then a boy interrupted, doubting Anos' claim that the Demon King built the walls for peace. He introduced himself as Letrion Ledriano Canon Azeshin, the reincarnation of Canon's first heart. Soon after, Lao's Canon Jilfer, the reincarnation of Canon's third heart, joined him. Anos doubted their claims, believing that Canon's true soul was singular. Instead of further debate, the two flexed their strength, with Laos attacking Anos unsuccessfully. Ledriano acknowledged Laos's defeat and politely asked Anos to withdraw, requesting his name. After Anos complied, he and Sasha exited. Eleanor praised Anos' strength, but he clarified that he hadn't demonstrated his full power. He confided that if he had faced the real Kanan, the battle would have been far different. Eleanor then asked if Anos himself was reincarnated and had known Kanan 2,000 years ago. He affirmed, revealing that he and Kanan had made a promise before reincarnation. Before parting, Eleanor told Anos that if he sought Kanan, he was already gone. The Kanan Anos knew was no more. Anos asked what she meant, and Eleanor solemnly explained that Kanan was murdered 2,000 years ago. Even with his source intact, he was no longer the same hero. When Anos pressed for the killer's identity, a gust of wind blew fiercely, and Eleanor revealed it was a human who had killed Kanan, a hero betrayed, not on the battlefield, but by the very hands he swore to protect. The students of the Demon King Academy finally arrived at the Hero Academy, where they were greeted with the news that Team Anos had already arrived, 10 days earlier in fact. The other students were visibly surprised. As Team Anos followed Eleanor through the academy, a group of royal demons blocked their path. One of them, a third-year student named Revest Aini, confronted Anos, having heard he was the first to arrive. When Anos asked for his name, Revest introduced himself and then apologized for his earlier suspicions. However, he made it clear that he still did not recognize Anos as the Demon King of Tyranny, despite his claims. During the first day of the Inter-Academy classes, the Hero Academy's headmaster, Diego Canon EJ Sika, introduced himself to all the students. He was also the instructor of the elite Jirga Canon class. For a warm-up exercise, Manu instructed each academy to demonstrate their magic using the provided objects on stage. The Hero Academy chose their rank 2 student, Ledriano, to represent them, while the Demon King Academy selected their top third-year, Revest. Ledriano went first, using the hero magic, Lie Hid, successfully. Revest then stepped forward to cast the demonization magic on Nedra, but despite repeated attempts, he couldn't perform the spell. This failure led to mockery from Ledriano and Diego, who ridiculed the Demon King Academy for being incapable of enchanting even a small mouse. Anos stood up, accusing the Hero Academy of setting them up. He revealed that Ledriano hadn't simply cast Lie Hid, he had also used the concealment-breaking magic Delenos, which sealed any magic cast by demons within a hidden barrier. With a snap of his fingers, Anos not only broke the barrier, but transformed the mouse into a beast, and even turned the sword on the table into a holy sword, a feat unthinkable even with Lie Hid. The onlookers were shocked, and although some began to accept that Anos might truly be the Demon King of Tyranny, one of the royal demons erupted in anger, refusing to believe that a hybrid like Anos could be the Demon King. Laos stood up, challenging anyone to surpass Anos, but Revest objected, reminding him that Anos was still a misfit and questioning if he was criticizing the royals. After class, Anos asked Melheis about his investigation. Melheis reported that while there was no record of Kanan being killed by a human in Azesion's legends, an intriguing prophecy was commonly recited among Hero Academy graduates. One day, utter darkness will once again consume Azesion, but have no fear. Offer hope and prayers to the legendary hero. Then he shall appear, spirit god, human sword Evan's mana in hand, to illuminate the world. Melheis suggested that this prophecy indirectly referred to Anos himself as the utter darkness, and that this hero legend was perpetuated specifically to ensure that Kanan or his reincarnations would destroy Anos if he ever returned. Later, Sasha and Misha invited Anos to join them at the festival celebrating Hero Jirga's birth. There, they spotted Ray and Misa together. Ray noticed Misa looking troubled. She confessed that the Hero Academy students had a frightening look in their eyes that day and wondered if things were about to take a dark turn. To lighten her mood, Ray tugged at her cheeks playfully and gave her a necklace, a token of gratitude for saving him during the ordeal with his mother. A necklace bestowed, a silent declaration sharper than any blade. The next day, Misa's friends admired the necklace she was wearing. She revealed that someone had put it on her and that it had a unique clasp unseen in Dilhade. When asked who gave it to her, she blushed and kept it a secret. Sasha later mentioned to Ray that she'd looked up the story behind that necklace, the Mishens necklace, known for its romantic legend. Jewels may shine, but this gift gleams with unspoken promises. During the Great War, two human lovers facing death split a holy seashell in half to make two necklaces, promising to reunite after reincarnation. Over time, it became customary to fashion a single necklace from two and give it to one's beloved. Misha explained that if someone broke the single shell necklace and gave one half to another, it was equivalent to a marriage proposal. Hearing this, the hybrid students teased Ray and Misa about marriage. Later, the students gathered at Lake Seme, where Diego announced the next inter-academy exam. The challenge was a battle using each academy's troop magic. Asla for the heroes, Gize for the demons, in the lake's underwater cities and caverns. Diego smugly offered that the Hero Academy would send their elite class and mock the Demon Academy for sending a decent team, as he considers them nobility in name, but strength borrowed from fairy tales. Some royals grew enraged, but Anos cautioned them not to fall for such cheap provocations. Manu stated that she would have sent Team Anos if only they had enough members, as the requirement was a team of 10. Revest stepped forward, declaring that the Academy's honor was at stake and couldn't be entrusted to a misfit like Anos. Despite his disdain, he vowed to fight for their teacher Manu, whose pride was on the line. Anos encouraged Revest to expose the enemy's strategy, lest he bring further shame. As the exam began, the Demon Academy students struggled underwater, quickly overwhelmed by the Hero Academy, who had rigged the environment. Anos lent Manu his demonic eyes, revealing the trick. The lake was infused with holy water, toxic to demons, but empowering for humans. The heroes also wore magical gear to continually supply themselves with with holy water. The demon forces were flanked and weakened, their magic nullified. As the situation worsened, Manu demanded Diego rescue the students immediately. He arrogantly dismissed her, blaming her for their plight. Anos intervened, teleporting all his academy students out of the lake with his magic. Revest was critically injured by holy magic, and healing spells proved ineffective. Manu apologized tearfully, blaming herself for her pride. Revest, stubborn, refused Anos's help, but Anos challenged his pride, asking if he was so weak that he let himself die just to avoid help for his teacher's sake. Revest finally relented, revealing the enemy's magical device that controlled the holy water, and admitted with tears that he wished he had Anos's power. Moved, Anos healed him and all the other wounded students. With their team restored, Team Anos advanced to round 2. Sasha mocked the defeated third years, noting they were all bark and no bite. The heroes retorted that they had simply used their home field advantage. Heine even taunted Anos to drain the lake if he could. Accepting the challenge, Anos ascended into the sky and used his magic to completely dry the lake, a feat that stunned Diego, as the holy water was a divine gift. Anos then summoned the Hero Academy students to come down and fight. Diego tried to cancel the exam, but his students refused, eager to fight. Manu declared both academies should take their positions. Ledriano told Diego not to worry because they were prepared to use that. Meanwhile, it was revealed that the Hero Academy had captured Eleanor. Thus, round 2 of the Inter-Academy exam officially began, with both sides determined not to disgrace their ancestors' pride. Sasha inquires about the plan, and Anos responds that he will devise one if necessary. He conjures a magic sphere and launches it towards the enemy's area, but it proves ineffective as a girl intercepts it and shatters it into tiny fragments. Anos realizes that some of the opponents might pose a considerable challenge. They notice a barrier known as the Igalia, a spell that diminishes enemy power while amplifying the strength of allies. Progress would be impossible unless the barrier is neutralized. Misha suggests that by utilizing the topographical effects of a demon castle, they can counter the draining spell. She decides to construct a castle at the corner of the barrier, estimating that it will take her 3 minutes to complete. Anos agrees, promising to protect her during that time, and instructs the others to join them once the castle is finished. With that, he teleports away with Misha. Misha activates Iris and begins building the castle. The students of the Hero Academy observe the immense magic being unleashed within the barrier and question whether Anos truly believes they will idly watch as the construction progresses. Anos acknowledges the girl's abilities and asks for her name. Ledriano responds that the girl is unable to speak, so he will answer on her behalf. He introduces himself as the Hero Academy's top ranker, the reincarnation of Hero Canon's 4th source, and reveals that the girl's name is Zeshia Canon Ej Sika, who wields the Holy Sword of Light, Enhail. He declares that the sword is capable of destroying their unfinished castle in a single strike. They all launch attacks at Misha, but Anos steps in to shield her. They bind Anos with a spell and mockingly laugh, boasting that their number totals 8888. Anos activates Jiraste, leaving them stunned, and an explosion follows. Zeshia swings her sword, but it is ineffective. It becomes evident that the 4 of them are not the ones supplying power to the barrier. Anos notices that Misha has completed the castle. Amidst the ruins, Laos uses his magic to rise, seething with rage at Anos' disrespect. Sasha appears, asserting that Laos should not have bothered dealing with Anos, and vows to drive him to the brink of despair. Ray draws his sword and begins attacking. Sasha, engaged with Laos, also possesses his magical gear. Laos employs Garuford and strikes her, retrieving his gear and trapping her within the barrier spell Birds. As he prepares to finish her, he suddenly coughs up blood and collapses. He sees Sasha laughing, who reveals that she tampered with his school badge, infusing it with poison magic. With his nose bleeding, Laos warns that if Sasha cannot break Birdsey, she will die. However, Sasha uses her eyes to destroy Birdsda and then asks if he knows why she is called the Witch of Destruction, punishing him for his arrogance toward her demon king. Meanwhile, Heine confronts Ray, stating that he should be unable to move within the earthquake barrier that suppresses sacred power. Heine brandishes the great sacred earth sword Zelo, explaining that any wound inflicted by Zelo will leave an unhealable stigma. Ray, without hesitation, cuts his own arm, shocking Heine with his ability to move inside the barrier. Ray's unique sword can transform at will and absorb sacred magic power, proving effective. Heine mocks Ray, claiming that a fake sword could never match him, but when Ray strikes the ground, the earth trembles, causing Heine's sword to disobey him. Advancing, Ray explains that he will leave Heine with a stigma out of mercy, since on a real battlefield, the suffering would be far worse. Heine trembles in fear as Ray slashes him. Elsewhere, Anos lands and questions Ledriano if he intends to feign death indefinitely. Ledriano rises, acknowledging Anos' perceptiveness, and challenges him to fight seriously. He chants a spell and summons the sacred ocean guardian sword, Belamente. Meanwhile, Zeshia attempts to strike Anos from behind, but he effortlessly blocks her. Anos questions Ledriano's notion of fairness, continuously dodging Zeshia's attacks. Her sword cannot pierce Anos, who then grabs her hand and hurls her onto Ledriano. They fall back, and Ledriano tells Zeshia that they will use a special skill, raising their hands along with their teammates to channel all their power, proclaiming themselves as Azesion's great hope and symbol of peace. Ledriano laughs, asserting that the souls of Gyrodite's people, now numbering 10 million compared to 100,000 2,000 years ago, are supporting them. He declares that this illustrates the difference between demons who rely solely on power and humans with sacred souls. Zeshia strikes Anos, but he blocks her effortlessly. Ledriano joins the attack, claiming that love is the source of their strength, but Anos shields himself with an Ask Magic Circle. Anos counters, asking who decreed that demons lack love. When Ledriano boasts about their support from 10 million people, Anos retorts that 8 should suffice. He calls upon the fan union, and the girls respond, ready to cheer and channel their love to Anos through song. Zeshia and Ledriano persist in their assault, but none of their attacks harm Anos. Ledriano is bewildered as to how the collective love of 10 million could could be overcome. Anos explains that the key lies not in numbers, but in the urgency and unity of those feelings, emphasizing that their efforts pale compared to the emotions Hero Cannon bore alone 2,000 years ago. Suddenly, a voice commands them to kill Anos, repeating the directive. Even the girls on Anos' team start echoing the command, revealing a brainwashing spell. Misha arrives, confirming that the voice was filled with pure hatred. Observing Ledriano's rage, Anos instructs Misha to step back. As Misha vanishes, he warns Zashia against unleashing the spell, predicting it will not end well for her. Nonetheless, Zashia leaps at Anos, stabbing herself and casting Gavwell, triggering a massive explosion that obscures everything. Ledriano laughs, but as the smoke clears, Anos stands unharmed. He admits he never expected a source explosion and tells Ledriano that his life is not so cheap to trade for the future. Seeing Zashia, whom he thought had obliterated her source, stab herself again and cast Gavwell, Anos grabs her head before she can act further. Eleanor's voice resonates, urging Anos to come to the shrine since only she can handle Zashia. Anos sends Misha to the shrine while he restrains Zashia. Misha, en route, is ambushed by Diego, who expresses his deep resentment, referencing all the humans killed by demons. Misha responds that the human-demon conflict dates back 2,000 years. Diego opens the sacred gate, releasing himself from his seal, and viciously stabs Misha repeatedly, declaring he will never forget the past even after 1,000 years. Misha bleeds and points out that Diego has broken the rules, as this was no accident. Diego admits it was deliberate, always intending for her kind to die, and plans to annihilate her source to prevent resurrection. Before he can succeed, Anos arrives, attacks Diego, shields Misha, and heals her. Afterward, Anos confronts Diego, punishes and kills him, then revives him to extract the Academy's true objective. He questions the hostility displayed by Diego's students, suspecting a deeper agenda. When Anos inquires if the voice commanding them was Diego's, Diego dismisses the notion, claiming a demon has no right to know a hero's exalted goals. Anos then uses Nidra, demonization magic, revealing Diego's true demonic form. Diego, now a demon, incites his followers to kill the demons without fear. Diego is stunned when his plan fails to detonate. Anos explains that he stopped time across the entire lake before Gabble could activate. Inserting his hand into Diego, Anos observes that a wounded source holds more power than death itself, with Hero Cannon being the sole exception capable of enduring it. With 7 sources, Cannon revived repeatedly, fighting for humanity even as his sources were torn apart and destroyed. Anos questions whether Diego could even comprehend such conviction, noting that Cannon always chose death over sacrificing others. Declaring that Diego is no hero, Anos destroys him. Later, Misha awakens in Anos' arms. He apologizes, explaining that healing wounds from sacred light exposure is far more difficult than treating a stigma. When Misha inquires about the light, Anos identifies it as the thunder god Sword Evans Mana. Misha assures him that she is well enough to walk. In the shadows, Eleanor opens her eyes, acknowledging Anos' arrival. When Anos asks her identity, she introduces herself simply as Magic. Not a human, not a spirit, just magic walking with a smile. Eleanor explains to Anos that she was created by a taboo magic spell that turns humans into magic itself. She reveals that she is, in fact, human magic. Her name is Eleanor. Anos realizes this is why. Even when Ledriano and the others were blasted away, the De Galia barrier remained intact. It was Eleanor alone who had taken on the role of healing even their mortal wounds. But before they can proceed further, Anos knows they must first dispel the Gavwell spell that Diego had cast on Jurga Kanan. He is currently holding it off with Revive, but if left unchecked, everyone's source will explode. Eleanor offers to handle it if Anos sets her free. She tells him that source magic is her specialty. Trusting her, Anos agrees and breaks the shield binding her. Grateful, Eleanor thanks him and immediately dispels the barrier. With guys disabled, things finally stabilize. Eleanor decides to tell Anos everything about the Hero Academy. When he asks if they were cloning humans, she confirms that the Academy had been creating source clones through her. These clones, born from source magic, could be replaced endlessly, even if killed with their sources destroyed. She then reveals that a human had initiated this project 2,000 years ago, Commander Jurga, who had led the subjugation army alongside Hero Cannon. She confirms Anos' suspicion that Jurga harbored a deep-seated hatred for demons. Even long after the Great War ended, his fear was that future generations would forget this hatred. Thus, he founded the Hero Academy and manipulated magic laws, transforming his source into 2 magic spells, one of which is Ask. People believe Ask connected them to Cannon, but in truth, it was fueled by Jurga's lingering thirst for revenge. Anos realizes that this craving for vengeance was embedded into all those under Aski's influence. Eleanor explains that a tiny fragment of Jurga's memories remains within her. She then shows Anos a memory of Canaan confronting Jurga, saying that while he understood Jurga's hatred for demons, their war had been fought so that their children wouldn't inherit such animosity. Canaan reminded Jurga that even the demon king of tyranny sacrificed himself for peace, asking whether they should prepare for war again. Yet Jurga was disillusioned. A soldier loyal to Jurga stabbed Canaan, betraying and killing the hero he trusted. Since then, Canaan never returned, never revived, likely because he was tired of humans. Even the bravest hero grows weary when gratitude is paid in betrayal. Eleanor admits that although Jurga's source split into 2 magic spells, she was the failure among them. The hatred had been absorbed into Ask, leaving her with little of Jurga's memories. Her only role was to create source clones, beings robbed of emotion and speech, existing only to fight and disappear. She laments that as long as things continue this way, no one will ever find happiness. She had always hoped someone would come to end this, and now she asks Anos to destroy her, since only he has that power. She admits that after all the killing, if the children she created could speak, they would never forgive her. At that moment, Zashia approaches Eleanor, calling her Mama, and pleads with Anos to save her, even crying. Anos gently praises Eleanor for enduring everything for 2,000 years, a soul chained in centuries of agony, yet still standing unbroken. He promised her that he'll grant her wish. He vows to make them all happy. Suddenly, Diego appears. Anos realizes this is another of Diego's source clones, the one spreading ASCII. Eleanor warns that as long as she exists, Diego will regenerate endlessly. An explosion shakes the scene. The 7 elder demon emperors have arrived, along with backup. Diego mocks the demons, claiming it is futile for any demon to draw Hero Cannon's holy sword. But as he attacks, he is killed. Anos sees the 7 elder demon emperors with another figure and asks his name. The figure introduces himself as Avos Dilhevia, the demon king of tyranny, proclaiming his return to destroy everything. Anos confronts him, questioning his intentions under a false name, calling him the fictitious demon king. Avos declares that he will challenge the world, dragging it into the true world of demons swallowed by deep darkness, and that the time has come with no turning back. Days later, it is publicly declared that history has repeated itself. The deep darkness has returned, assaulting the shrine and stealing Azeshion's guardian deity, the thunder god sword Evans Mana. The legend of the demon king of tyranny's revival after 2,000 years is confirmed. It's announced that he will lead the demons in invading their nation. However, the public is reassured that the demon subjugation army will bring justice and triumph over the demons. Meanwhile, the 7 elder demon emperors announce their lord's awakening. Exil, Avos Dilhevia appears, confessing that in the past he made a mistake by dividing the world into 4 realms to seek peace and showing humans mercy. Yet humans haven't changed in 2,000 years. They still cling to the myth of a holy sword meant to annihilate him. Now, he seeks to correct his past error, calling for the strongest to gather around him to destroy the foolish humans. The demons cheer for him. Melheis informs Anos that most demon lords have sided with Avos Dilhevia and are moving toward the border. The demon king's subjugation army is preparing to intercept them. Anos declares that this is the battle he left unfinished 2,000 years ago. When Melheis offers to join the fray, Anos declines, but Melheis insists, unwilling to ignore someone falsely claiming their lord's name. Sasha and Misha appear, insisting on joining Anos. The hybrid students also rally to his side. Anos reflects on how lucky he is to have such loyal subordinates and friends. Later, Rei encounters a worried Misa, who fears for everyone's safety. Rei reassures her, saying, "This is nothing compared to the Great War 2,000 years ago, one he believes he fought in." When Misa closes her eyes expecting a kiss, Rei instead puts on a necklace. Misa teases that this is like a proposal, and Rei promises he'll come back. Anos gathers everyone, asking what they should do. Sasha suggests preventing skirmishes between Dilhade forces and a Demon King subjugation army, neutralizing both sides and finding a way to remove the grudge implanted by ASCII. Anos commands them not to die and not to kill. No life should be lost over such matters. Azeshion's forces are positioned, and the Dilhade forces are preparing to strike. Anos assigns Misha and Sasha to stop the Western troops, declaring that their Demon King has no desire for war. He tasks the Fan Union with supporting the rear guard and instructs Rei and Misa to destroy the Eastern troops without letting them cross the border. Melheis is ordered to subdue the 7 elder demon emperors, while Anos himself will confront Avos Dilhevia. On a mountain, Anos and Melheis stand, expecting to find Avos. Anos uses magic to attack the area, drawing out their enemies. Melheis captures Meduin, Zoro, and Eldora, who were being manipulated by Avos, but finds that their sources have fled their hosts. Anos enters the castle but doesn't find Avos inside until eventually they face each other. Avos draws his sword, rushing at Anos, and they clash. Anos tells him it has been 2,000 years, addressing him as Hero Cannon. He then pulls out the necklace, saying he knows Cannon came to fulfill his promise. Avos removes his mask. He is indeed Hero Cannon. Cannon asks how Anos figured it out, admitting he thought he had fooled him into thinking he was dead. Anos explains that the necklace gave it away. Even if Cannon had lost his past life memories, he recognized the single shell necklace as something only known through the Azeshion myth. This meant Cannon remembered everything and was hiding it. Anos knows Shin would never lie to him, and deduces that no demon could wield both a unique sword and a holy sword, unless the great hero himself resurrected as a demon. He questions Cannon, suspecting he only has one source left and asking what happened to the other 6. Avos Dilhevia had fused 7 sources, matching Hero Cannon's 7, confirming Anos' theory. He believes Cannon played the fake Demon King to hide the truth, though many events like Misha's birth through Dino Jix's and incidents at the Magic Sword Tournament weren't part of his plan. Anos admits he doesn't know Cannon's story, but even those tears Cannon shed to save his mother seem genuine. Anos concludes that Cannon must still be trying to save something, even while acting as the false Demon King. He then asks Cannon, what exactly happened 2,000 years ago? Cannon answers just as Anos suspected, humans were weak. He reveals to Anos that he was murdered by the followers of Jurga, who then devised a scheme to obliterate him 2,000 years later. Such an irrational error committed by humans compelled him to correct that mistake. The Evans Mana possesses the power to nullify even destiny itself. Using it, he nullified his destined reincarnation as the Demon King of Tyranny. When Anos inquires if this is the reason his name was forgotten, he explains that over time, history was gradually rewritten, leading to the creation of the counterfeit Demon King Avos Dilhevia. He admits he never expected Anos to uncover the truth. He acknowledges that his current intention is to allow himself to be slain by humans as the Demon King of Tyranny. He states that humans will inevitably kill demons, and his only remaining option would be to slay humans, despite being the one who desired peace more than anyone else 2,000 years prior. The root of this perpetual hatred lies in Jurga's infusion of malice into ASCII. Destroying Avos Dilhevia would, in theory, dispel that curse. After being betrayed and murdered by humans, Anos questions Cannon on whether such self-sacrifice is necessary. Cannon responds that he still wishes to uphold the identity of a hero. He recognizes that Anos achieved peace through the sacrifice of his life, fulfilling his promise, and that the world has indeed become splendid. ended. Yet, Kanan laments that the peace he desired is incomplete, as he has yet to witness genuine human kindness. Anos recounts the ancient tradition where human lovers on the brink of death would split a holy seashell to create matching necklaces worn with the hope of reunion and reincarnation. In his perspective, this shell is akin to a Mishent's necklace, a farewell to a loved one. He knows Rey has meticulously prepared for his grand plan over the centuries. No words now could dissuade him. Anos challenges Kanan, saying if he wishes to reclaim the necklace, he must do so by force. Rey had already anticipated this confrontation, stating that his arrival was to protect Anos. Yet Anos declares that he won't allow Rey to protect him, insisting on protecting him instead. They clash as Rey charges forward, prompting Anos to activate Gia Grease. They continue battling fiercely, with Anos repeatedly employing magic and shattering Rey's sources. Ultimately, Anos crushes the sole remaining source within Kanan, causing him to collapse. Anos tells him that victory is impossible now, but Kanan insists that it does not matter how often he loses, as he only needs to win once. He once believed the time had not yet come to risk his life for peace, but realizes now that someone worth saving stands before him, leaving no room to wait. Drawing another sword, Kanan resumes his assault, wielding both blades with relentless vigor. With his full strength, Kanan strikes Anos directly, unknowingly landing a critical blow. Anos, acknowledging his troublemaking nature, feels his magic fading and dons the mask that Kanan previously wore. Observers witness the sight of Evan's mana piercing Anos, signifying the Demon King of Tyranny's defeat. Anos warns Kanan not to gaze at him with such sadness, for it does not befit a hero. Kanan, with a sorrowful expression, questions why Anos allowed this outcome. Anos responds that he is merely following the predetermined script, one meant to extinguish human hatred. He instructs his comrades to retreat and await his resurrection, forbidding any vengeance against humans. He urges them to live until the Demon King's return. Kanan reflects on the endless hell he endured, always battling until death, but acknowledges that the one who always extended a hand to him was Anos, his one and only hero. Removing the sword from Anos' body, Kanan watches as Anos vanishes. Kanan then announces to all that the Demon King is dead and the war is concluded. The decision is made to await the Demon King's return in Dilhade. Suddenly, Diego's voice echoes, commanding his 10,000 Zashia troops to self-destruct and annihilate humanity. Eleanor intervenes, declaring that the conflict is over and there is no reason to fight further. Diego retorts that this is their method of punishing the demons who stole everything from them. She counters that this hatred is not truly his. From Diego's body emerges a voice vowing to crush every last demon until obliteration is complete. A manifestation exits in Diego's form, revealing an Asket transformed into Jurga. Jurga expresses deep disappointment in Kanan for reincarnating as a demon. Kanan reciprocates, disappointed that Jurga forsook his humanity, becoming a magic entity with the sole purpose of eradicating demons. Kanan attempts to nullify Jurga with his sword, but it fails to strike, as Jurga's body is composed of pure sacred magic empowered by the demon judgment spell. Meanwhile, Sasha and Misha arrive, questioning why they are subject to Jurga's judgment. He derides them as masterless subordinates, but they affirm their faith in Anos' return. Ivis commands his direct descendants, twins who have inherited the Demon King's love, to unveil the Necron family's secret technique. Misha and Sasha join hands, and Ivis instructs them to revert to their true forms. They perform Dino Jixes, and despite Jurga's attempt to eliminate them, their belief in Anos' return holds firm. Sasha declares that Jurga should never think their Demon King could die. Jurga mocks them, preparing the self-destruct spell, but Rey intervenes to halt him. Misa also uses her magic to impede Jurga, while Misha exerts all her strength to restrain his power. Although Jurga nearly succeeds, his magic abruptly ceases as Anos reappears, commending everyone for enduring so long. Jurga is stunned by Anos' return, unable to comprehend it. Anos reveals that his resurrection was achieved using the origin magic, Agronimut, which revives the source by converting an enemy's prior attack into the origin. However, this can only be done with an attack already experienced once. Jurga laughs, convinced this offers him another chance to kill the Demon King himself. He addresses the people of Azeshion, claiming that darkness will soon engulf the land, but urges them not to fear. He commands them to offer prayers filled with hope, asserting that such light will extinguish the darkness. As people begin to scream, Anos denounces Jurga as a fool, warning that forcibly draining hope prevents souls from ever returning. Jurga insists on his noble mission to exterminate Anos, even at the cost of his own life. Jurga attacks, but Kanan intervenes to block the assault. Anos urges his friend Kanan to help break the ancient chain of hatred and bring peace to both Azeshion and Dilhade. The chains of hatred rust when a hero and a demon king strike them together. Together, they confront Jurga, with Anos using Zora e Dipto to bind him. A massive explosion of power ensues, and Jurga mocks Anos, suggesting his injuries and depleted magic power make his defeat inevitable. Anos rises and questions whether Jurga truly believes he would submit just because Jurga represents the world's order. Anos activates ASCII and commands the fan union to sing a requiem for the pitiful ghost. They begin singing the song of peace, rallying everyone to assist. Eleanor suppresses Jurga's magic while others evacuate Azeshion's wounded soldiers. The song of love and peace continues to resonate. Peace begins when swords clash, not in anger but in unity. Anos questions if Jurga cannot see humans and demons uniting, striving together for life. He tells Jurga that the era has long changed and peace reigns. Jurga dismisses this, declaring revenge eternal until all demons are annihilated. He insists that human hatred is ineradicable. Kanan then strikes, and Jurga is shocked that Evan's mana could nullify his fate. He sees Delsgate, conjured by Anos, realizing that humans never truly hated demons, it was only his own hatred. Anos and Kanan launch a powerful joint attack, successfully destroying Jurga. Anos tosses the shell necklace to Jurga, who closes his eyes and vanishes. Sasha and Misha revert to separate beings and embrace Anos. Meanwhile, Rey reunites with Misa, who welcomes him warmly warmly and they share a heartfelt embrace. Anos notices Eleanor sitting despondently and fulfills his promise by turning her into his own magic, ensuring she is never exploited again. He reminds her to care for her 10,000 Zeshias. As her tears fall on one of them, Zeshia awakens and Eleanor expresses gratitude to Anos. After the war, they return home. Anos' mother embraces him tightly, relieved after hearing of his involvement in battle. His father inquires about his well-being. Upon seeing Eleanor, they are stunned. Anos' mother begins to scream, causing Eleanor to panic and hastily explain that Anos turned her into his magic. His father expresses surprise at Anos proposing in such a stylish manner. Third wife secured, now forming the official Demon King's Council of Wives. Sasha whispers to Misha that if Anos mentioned having 10,000 children, they would likely faint. Anos' father starts crying, overjoyed at becoming a grandfather. At this point, the Demon King doesn't need followers. In fact, just sends the kids to conquer kingdoms as a family. Outing Eleanor's motherly instincts kick in as she drags her inside for dinner, having prepared an abundance of mushroom gratin, anticipating the chaos of 3 young women and 10,000 kids. Chaos. So legendary even history books need babysitting chapters.